Millions and millions of jobs lost. Many may not return. Millions of jobs lost in the recession could be gone for good. And unlike in past recessions, jobs in the beleaguered manufacturing sector aren't the only ones likely lost forever. What sets the Great Recession apart is the variety of jobs that simply may not return. Yes, this time it's different. There's never been times like these before, and there'll never be times like these again. So, that helps explain why economists think it could take at least 5 years or more, if at all, for the economy to regain the 8.2 million jobs wiped out by the recession, longer than in any other recovery since World War II. It means that even as the economy strengthens, more Americans could face years out of work. Already, the percentage of the labor force unemployed for 6 months or longer is 4.3%. That's the highest rate on records, dating to 1948. Changes are coming rapidly. Behind the trend are the cutbacks businesses made in the recession to make up for a loss of customers. To sustain earnings, they became more productive. They found ways to produce the same level of goods or services with fewer workers. Automation, global competition, and technological efficiencies helped solidify the trend. Diminished home equity and investment accounts have made shoppers more cautious, too. And their frugality could endure well into the recovery. That's why fewer retail workers, among others, will likely be needed. Productivity grew at an annual rate of 6.3% in the year ending in March, the Labor Department has said. It was the largest increase in 48 years, though most economists think that pace isn't sustainable. So, in the long run, more productive workers raise standards of living. Companies can pay more without inflating prices. But, in the short run, high productivity delays hiring. U.S. employers did add some jobs in April. The unemployment rate rose to 9.9%, however, because 805,000 people without jobs poured into the labor force to seek work. 3 industries in particular, where many jobs may not be coming back, are retailing, manufacturing, and advertising. Retailers have lost 1.2 million, or 7.5% of jobs that existed before the recession, according to the Labor Department data. Circuit City and Linens and Things have collapsed. Starbucks closed nearly 800 U.S. stores. Robert Burix, an economist at Kronos, a workforce management company, estimates 20% of those jobs are never coming back. Manufacturing has shed 2.1 million jobs, or 16% of its total, since the recession began. Goodyear, Tire and Rubber and Boeing Company, laid off a combined 15,700 people during the recession. General Motors eliminated 65,000 through buyouts and layoffs. And as Americans buy fewer cars and homes, more than 1 million jobs in the auto, steel, furniture, and other manufacturing industries won't return, according to estimates by Moody's Analytics. Advertising and PR agencies have lost 65,000 jobs, or about 14% of the pre-recession total. Moody's Analytics estimates those individuals or industries will lose even more within 5 years. In addition, a consolidated airline industry has shed layers of jobs that won't likely return. Delta Airlines earlier this year spread out departure times for flights from its Cincinnati hub rather than bunching them at peak travel times. That way, it could operate from one concourse rather than two, said Kent Landers, a spokesman. The change allowed a Delta subsidiary, Regional Elite Airline Services, to cut more than 700 baggage handling and other ground services jobs. More than half the 15.3 million people out of work in April said they regard their layoff as permanent, the Labor Department has reported. That's the highest proportion of records dating to 1967. In previous recessions, workers often endured only temporary layoffs. Their employers would recall them once business picked up. Caterpillar Incorporated has resumed hiring after laying off 19,000 full-time workers during the recession, thanks to rising demand for its construction and mining equipment. But most of the new jobs will be overseas. Of the 9,000 hires, CEO Jim Owens said Caterpillar plans to make this year, only 3,000 will be in the U.S. Many economists say eventually companies won't be able to squeeze any more work out of their employees, and that would force employers to step up hiring. But Janet Yellen, president of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, cautions that this won't happen anytime soon. She believes corporate America remains in the early stages of a drive for greater efficiencies. We may be in store for high productivity growth for some time, she said. If so, the rate of job creation will be frustratingly slow. Yes, this time it's different. There's never been times like these before, and there'll never be times like this or these again. And there's something much bigger going on here, something much more. Everything that must change quickly or rapidly, and it must change for the better. Just like all these disasters that are happening. The disasters that are happening are indicative of things that must change. The disasters are showing us what's wrong with things. And yes, these are more signs of the end times. Transition days. The transition is a process. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need, but I tell you. 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night. 3. For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as labor upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. 4. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief. 5. You are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. 6. Therefore, let us not sleep, as do others, but let us watch and be sober. 7. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken, are drunken in the night. 8. But let us, who are of the day, be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet, the hope of salvation. 9. But God has not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Jesus Christ. And yes, all these things are more signs.